Hello everyone, Hachadino over here, and this is another one of the Mythic boss videos guides that I'm going to do. We are going to focus this time on Mythic Ovi Nax. I also have done a cool, let's say, imaginary with the cooldown spreads that you may want to study. You can also, of course, check lorgs or some things like that, but I'm going to explain why we use these cooldowns and also show you kind of gameplay of how we are going to use those. So, first of all, the build itself, we are going to be using a Trickster build. It will be this one. We're going to be focusing on cleaving off from the boss, and you can change, of course, if you want, first dance to replicating shadows to have some extra cleave sometimes, but it's nothing crazy. I do like first dance because I get some extra burst at the beginning, and it works super well. Now, let's go into the fight itself. I'm going to explain a little bit what is the kind of thing that we want to do. We always want to have two dances available when X spawn. This means that we are going to be changing some things from the general single target rotation that is over here. And if you watch my super lengthy video about everything that you want to know, you may know that if you play like this, you will send them kind of close, but here we are going to hold our third dance until the spiders spawn at 45 seconds. You will get those two spiders, two worms, and three packs of parasites. Same thing with the second spawn and 1 minute and 30. Usually you would use some symbols of death in there or something like that. We're going to send a secret technique flat or send nothing at all. That will depend on the cooldown reduction that you have. Now, without further ado, for people that are more of a visual learner, let's go here on one of the kills itself. Do remember that I talked about this before or something like that. You want to use symbols of death anywhere um, before the pool. They stay even just as you rest, use symbols, and they will stay. The min max is if your RL at least lets you 20 seconds so that you can use symbols of death and have the two stacks of rotten for it. Now, as general rotation things, I'm not going to explain them because you kind of have to know. But the opener is nothing crazy. You are going to put your slice and dice and rupture and flagellation and use your cooldowns. You can pre-cloak the first web, but in this case, I had a red paladin that was using freedom on me, so I didn't need to. We're going to begin the pool. And here, there's one thing that you kind of want to do. Um, when you use transmitter, you spawn those things if it's the ball or the thing that you need to soak at 45 degrees. So when you use your trinket, instead of going into Ovi Nax, her fat ass will not let you see it. You will just do 45 to the other side and you will spawn it a little bit to the side. If it's the ball, it will come to you. And if it's the soak thing, it will spawn more or less where these flyers are. I got the jump 3 times, so I'm just going to jump twice. And then when I'm ready to use my cooldowns, I will do the third one. Now we go on our normal cooldowns, and then the retribution paladin use freedom on me so I don't get the thingy, and then we go on our second dance. You can use shadow steps or sprint to keep hitting the boss while she's running to eat those things. And now here in normal situations, you would use your third dance, but here we are going to hold it until mobs spawn. We are going to get full combo points and are going to use secret technique, go into damage. Remember, important to hit the boss from the front. Try not to get hit, of course, by the things that come from the sky, so you can cleave onto the worms and the spiders. course, depending on your team comp, they are going to get completely annihilated, like it happened here. And now here, it's where the thing that I talked about can happen. If your group is a little bit slower on killing parasites or spiders or worms, you may get some extra shuriken storms eviscerates and have secret technique ready to use very early over here. So you would use it and just use it again when you get your cooldowns. But in my case, I didn't have enough cooldown reduction, so I'm just going to save it, use other finishers, try to stay away from the people that could get webbed, and then go in the front of the boss. And here you will want to use your cooldowns, being transmitter, flagellation, and everything. And it's the same thing. If you're in front of the boss, instead of being closer to it or something like that, you will do a little bit to the right or to the left, depending on how you like it, and get the transmitter buff. You can see here that I got my ball, everything good. Now, as I talked before, I didn't get full spread on those things, so I need to use some finishers outside of the dance. But no issue, we keep hitting the boss. And now here is the same thing as before. Normally, you would use symbols of death and secret technique alone over here, but we are going to hold them to get two of them on this next pack thingy. Hit the parasites, hit the spider, everything, get big damage. And here you will get those extra finishers that you want to get. Because we couldn't get out of cooldown reduction before, we don't get that, but it's no matter. You will use those two dances to be aware of the coup charge. It can get you into dicey situations. And now here, in normal situations, you would also use your transmitter and everything, but we are going to save it for the next set of eggs. This means that here is where you will use symbols of death alone, or just save it to have it ready for the next time. You would use a symbols of death alone with secret technique, and then wait until everything comes back fine. And as you can see here, now I got the yellow thingy, and get ready. I get the ball again, see where the ball is, begin hitting, get the ball, do everything right, big damage, dodge. If you have to interrupt, remember to interrupt your chosen target. And now here, if you didn't use symbols of death before, you can use symbols of death alone with secret technique to get some cooldown reduction for the next thing. And then here it's likely that you cap dances, but no worries, that it's normal. And even if you do that, there is no issue. Go into there, use the cold blood, get some damage, and get all the cooldown reduction possible that you can get there. Dance, second dance, interrupt. Took me a little bit because I have to dodge a lot, but you can do it earlier. Doesn't matter that much because the next set of ads you are going to hold anyway for around 10 to 15 seconds. Here, get ready into the front of the boss, remember, because that is where the spiders will be. I use my pot over here because these triple spiders really need to die, and not everyone has cooldowns for these ones. So it's good that I have them. Now we get some extra cooldown reduction. And this time we will not use symbols of death or our secret technique until we get to the Cold Blood Shadow Dance. Ideally, of course. I did misplay here, but don't worry about that. You will get to use the Cold Blood on the next one. With no issue. Now, one thing I do put on the notes thingies to use it on the next ones after these ones. My guild is using a strat where we skip the next set of X and only kill one. So that is nothing crazy. So I'm using my last cooldowns here a little bit liberally, but you can look at the sheet itself and check where those things are. I only used one dance over here, but you could use two. And then use your trinket and everything on the last set of those thingies where you will have two spiders, some parasites, and worms. Here's the last thing we do, and then we kill the last ones that are on triangle. Everyone else just stays away. I use cloak to not get the healing less taken. And that is the boss, my friends. If the boss takes longer for you, or if you're using another strat, do check the sheet. It has the cooldowns, and with this, more or less everything that you might want to know about that. Now, of course, if you don't have an retribution paladin, you may want to save your cloak or your banish to get out of those webs. Do remember to not be with your friends where you banish or use cloak if you have the web, because you will root them and likely kill them. So that is everything for this boss. A little bit longer than usual, but it's also a boss that it's also longer than usual for most people. Have a nice day, and I will see you on the next video.